after that, I asked my wife if she wanted to help find a church, because I thought it would be good to have her along for the ride if she would do it with me. And so um, she did a lot of different research, and we found a church that we were at for a bit. And then after we bought our house, we ended up going to this other church that's closer to home, about, I don't know, 8 minutes from the house here. And yeah, that's Lutheran. But am I a Lutheran? I don't think so. I don't. I think I'm a Lutheran as it relates to like my membership at the church, but I wouldn't call myself a Lutheran.
So what brought you in the corner, Chad, to learn?
What brought me into the corner? Well, so I was on the job site listening to I think it started out with audiobooks, and then my best friend was like listening to Joe Rogan one day, and I was like, "What are you listening to?" He's like, "I'm listening to Joe Rogan." I'm like, "Oh, interesting." Well, and so then I went to listen to some Joe Rogan. The first episode I was listening to was this dude Nicholas Christakis. He wrote a book called Blueprint. I think it's something, The Blueprint. And it was really good, and I got that book, and then I started listening to more stuff, and then ended up tripping over Jordan Peterson, which was intriguing to me because, like, I think he had he had a charisma. There was a he's a good storyteller, and so he can capture your attention really well. And then he starts saying things, giving information about historical moments that I never was taught about, and I was like, how the hell was I not taught this stuff, And so that was like, I was like kind of hooked at that moment, and I started listening to the biblical lectures, and I wasn't a Christian at the time. I think I was about 7 years sober in AA, and so I wasn't a Christian, but I was already praying and doing prayers and helping others and stuff. So I had a spiritual life, but I was intrigued by his Peterson's biblical series on the Genesis lectures, and from there I just started listening to all the classroom stuff. Which I think all the people who were around at that time would say the classroom lectures, especially from like 2015, 2016, are the best. That's the best stuff that he has. So I started listening to that stuff, and I did trip over a Paul Vanderklay video early on. I wasn't intrigued by him. I thought he was kind of annoying. He would lose track, and I thought he was like grifting off of Peterson or something. So I had this idea that there's something about him I didn't like, so I stopped listening. And then after when 2019 around there, we heard less and less Peterson. He was sick, and I just started listening to more and more audiobooks, like a ton of them. Mm-hmm. And that whole time I was wondering, and then the COVID thing happened, and then throughout that whole thing I was thinking, where the hell is Peterson? What? I wonder what he thinks about this stuff. I had also been thinking, I wonder if he's gonna ever go. How do I say this? I know I'm rambling, but so I had some pretty hard, rigid spells in my recovery where I was like, you need to do things a certain way. When I was trying to sponsor guys and help them, I was like, you need to read the book this way. This is the only way, yada yada. So I had my own run-ins with orderliness, let's say, and I got sick in sobriety, which means I started disconnecting from people, and my world got really small, and I eventually it got so small that it kind of crushed me, and I came out of that, and I started wondering if Peterson was ever going to run into some problems like that. Anyways, so during the COVID time, I was thinking, where's Peterson? And then he came back, and he had this conversation with Jonathan Bijot, this really, I think, pivotal conversation in both of Jonathan Bijot and Jordan Peterson's career, which was like, and I think it will probably go down as to be something very, very historic. And I only think that because of all the different people who have mentioned this conversation and the moment in that conversation where Peterson talks about he has a sense that the objective world and the narrative world touch, but he didn't know how that worked. And as he said that, he was weeping. But I was right there too, because in my AA world, I was thinking like this God of my understanding bit, although it's working, it's kind of running out of, like, I feel like I'm reaching the end of this God of my understanding bit. And I was wondering how do the Christians make sense of Christianity? I had resentments against Christianity, and I couldn't wrap my mind around Christ. The whole thing was kind of, every time I hear the word Savior or Jesus Christ, I would just like snap shut. And so right around that same time, Peterson and Jonathan Bijot have this conversation where I'm reaching the end of my God of my understanding bit. Like, it's not like, I feel like I'm hitting the end of it. And something snapped to me, and I thought I need to reach out. I saw Vanderclay did a commentary on that video, and so I reached out to Paul, and Paul sent me to the Discord, and that's how I got here.
Do we have time for some clarification questions here?
Well, yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to get that. I mean, thank you for sharing. That's like, can I just ask? So you started out non-denom, but you weren't a Christian. You were praying and things. And this was after your recovery?
Yeah, during my recovery. I'm still in recovery. Yeah.
During your recovery. Did you before that? Did you have any type of spiritual or religious practice that maybe you grew up with, or? No,
not really. When I was about 12 years old, I went to go live with my dad, and he was in a mega church in San Jose.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived with him for about a year. And during that year, I ended up playing the thief on the cross at the Easter play, which is weird because, like, I'm this 12-year-old kid, and I'm in basically a sackcloth, carrying a cross across the like these 1,000 people, and getting it up the stage, and then getting on the cross and asking Jesus if I could be in the kingdom. It's so weird. But so I remember there was something about it that did speak to me. But when we leave the parking lot, life didn't line up, right? So, like, my dad I didn't think was acting very Christian. I'll just put it that way. So, like, I'm 12 years old, so it's easy to pick up a resentment there. So yeah, I had that, and then I ended up moving back to live with my mom. And later, when I was about 17, my mom lived in a parsonage next to a church, but I was already fully in my alcoholism. I was way more interested in smoking cigarettes, drinking, and girls, right? So, like, it didn't speak to me, and I was a very troubled person. So yeah. But I would also say that my journey with alcohol itself was a spiritual experience, a spiritual journey. So yeah.
How was your journey with alcoholism a spiritual journey? And does it come up in the, like, I mean, I've heard you talk about it.
Yeah, it's a spiritual. I think alcohol or anything that lights you up, like alcohol lit me up. I mean, that's a spiritual experience. I mean, there's a connection there that gets me connected. It helps me feel like a person, you know. And so alcohol was always something that would just make me feel like a person. And so when, you know, people have this, I mean, I know plenty of people who have not used any substances who have different things in their lives that there's that kind of power for them. And I mean, what I come to find is it's an insufficient power, but it does work for a really long time.